Are you staring at a blank page right now, trying to figure out what your PhD research topic should be? Maybe you've got too many ideas, or maybe you've got zero. Either way, you feel completely stuck. Now, I've been there. I've watched students get stuck in the exact same spot. So, in this video, I'm going to give you a dead simple system for going from total confusion to a sharp, doable research topic step by step. And it's not going to be that vague advice like follow your passion, you see. It's going to be some real practical steps. Let's go. Now, first of all, is why picking a research topic so overwhelming? You know, your brain is telling you that this one decision will define your entire career and that you need to find a perfect topic, something which is groundbreaking, something Nobel Prize worthy, something that changes the world. And that pressure, that's actually paralyzing, and that doesn't let you actually think what you should be working on. So, how do people find a topic then? What most students do is they fall into one of these four traps. The first trap, which is the safe graph. You take your supervisor's suggestion because it feels safe, even though you're not remotely excited about it. Second is the Superman problem trap. You pick something so massive and so ambitious that it's basically impossible to finish. Something like I want to solve climate change, but that's cool, but not really in 4 years. Yeah. Then analysis paralysis, which is you've read too much. You've read hundreds of papers, you've been reading, reading, and reading, and now you have never actually made a decision because you still feel that there is more to read. And the last trap is the vague vortex where you have a general area of interest, maybe just mental health, AI, but you don't have an actual question, so you are spinning in circles on actually nothing to grab onto. Now, if any of this sounds familiar, don't worry, because there is a way out. I want you to look at finding a research topic not as something that you actually need to find, but something you need to build. So don't think yourself like a treasure hunter as it is portrayed usually, that you need to search something which is actually buried out there. You have to actually think of like an architect who has to design something new. Every solid research topic, just like every solid building, needs to stand firmly on some pillars. And I call them the three pillars: novelty, which is your work actually new? Relevance, does anybody care about your work? And feasibility, can you actually finish it? So, if your topic can stand firmly on all three of this, you are in actual great shape. Let's discuss each one. Yeah. Novelty. So novelty is actually newness. So your work should be something which is novel, new, original. And this, I don't know why, scares the most people. People come with me asking questions on how am I supposed to come up with something original. See, novelty in PhD doesn't mean that you have to reinvent physics. It just means you're answering a question that nobody has answered yet. So even a small one, probably that answer might have been given, but in a different way. So a different population, a different methodology, a different setting can also be a new work. So you have to think of it in this way, because the knowledge is like a giant brick wall, and you can't try to build a whole new wall in just 4 or 5 years. So you try to add just one new brick. That's it. That's a PhD. Now, okay, you've understood that, but then how do you find a gap, Professor? See, first of all, you have to read papers, you have to go through literature searches, find papers, and especially focus on sections uh, trying to find out sentences like more research work is needed, or the limitations of the paper. You can also go on critically analyzing the papers in, does it really say what it means to say? Does it convey, or probably are there some biases in the paper or something? Maybe some other methodology could have been used, and that's again one way how you can think of something new there. And with latest technology and AI, now you can even find those gaps faster with tools like Answer This, SciSpace, Elicit, where you can put in your questions and the tool gives you quick summaries with some suggestive relevant papers, so that it actually shortens your time of finding searching papers. But it, and the tool actually doesn't think for you, you have to think for your own self, but it helps you find those gaps, it helps you see and collect those relevant papers. With tools like Research Rabbit and Lit Maps, you can see citation maps which help you spot patterns and gaps in literature. Even tools like Consensus, where you can, and Notebook LM, where you can go and with Consensus you can ask questions and understand how many or what the studies are saying. With Notebook LM you can put in all your collected sources and brainstorm by asking questions of what, how the studies are contradicting, how the studies can be compared, and where do they agree and where do they disagree. So this way again you can brainstorm and find some gaps which are there in the literature. So this way the work can be done in few hours or maybe in an afternoon, instead of 6 months of just reading for finding a gap, you know. Next pillar which I want to talk about is relevance, you know. And this comes down to two simple words, which is so what. So if your idea is completely new, but if nobody cares about the answer, it's a dead end. So you need to be able to clearly say who benefits from your research. Now, what you can do there is you can run your idea through this quick checklist, which is, does your study or work fill a hole in the existing theory? So, does it have some academic value, or does it have some practical value, which is like your research helps solve some real world problems? It could also be a societal value, where probably a science journalist could write a story about that, or financial value, like is that a topic that research grants could actually fund. So you don't need to actually check all four, but if you can't check any of them, then that's a red flag, okay. um and try to think like probably who can benefit from your work. It could be some university, some company or hospital or government agency, you know. Any of these agencies saying that we need this answer, probably then your topic has relevance. And if you cannot imagine anyone outside of uh, three academics caring about your work, you might have to rethink. The third pillar, which is the most important pillar and unfortunately the most skipped one, is feasibility. I like to think about this as the 2 year rule. So your PhD might technically be for 3, 4, 5, even longer years. But once you're planning or choosing a research topic, assume that at least 1 year of this is going to be pure chaos, you know, failed experiments, dead ends, data doesn't behave, life just happening. So when you're evaluating, you have to actually think of like, could I get the core of this done in 2 solid productive years? If the answer is no, your scope is too big, you need to narrow it down. And feasibility is not just about time, you see. It includes time, whether your research can fit into your PhD timelines and deadlines. It's also about data. So, do you have a realistic, reliable way to get the data that you need to come up with a research? Do you have access to some equipments or softwares which are needed? So, do you have it or can you get it? Skills, I mean, do you have those skills, or do you have some clear plans to learn them? Otherwise, you would be stuck and a lot of time would be wasted there. And ethics approval. So, does your study first of all need approvals? And if they do, Can you get the approval? Because if you don't get it approved, your study will be stuck in review for some time even. So just be really honest there, because uh, if that's not, if that doesn't happen, nobody else will be able to help you with that if your work is not feasible. Now, building your topic step by step. So now you have the three pillars, but then how do you actually build a topic from scratch? I use something called the funnel method. First step: pour everything at the topic: your passions, your background, the problems you see around, the career you want. So just don't think about research yet. Just brainstorm freely, get messy, get a big list. And then move on to the first filter, which is you have to also understand and check your university guidelines. So, are there certain topic off limits? Do you need to collect original data? Is there a preference for qualitative work or a quantitative work? You know, what you can do is you can read three or four recently approved dissertations from your exact program. These can help you like a cheat sheet for what passes and what doesn't. So you have some broad topics, you've understood your university guidelines. Next, what you have to do is now you have to go hunting to find the research gap. You have to dive into existing research, you have to read papers and studies. But don't really start with just individual studies, start with review articles. These papers summarize an entire field. They almost end up with further research is needed section, and that phrase, that's your treasure map. That's where you walk in actually. You can go on reading and finding papers, and then take the top two or three ideas and then check them against the pillars: novelty, relevance, feasibility, and then sharpen it down to one question. Now, the final output of this whole process is not a topic, it's a sentence. One specific answerable research question. Not something like time management, but what is the impact of time management on graduation rates among business students? That's kind of a laser beam. That's something that's fundable, finishable, and completely answerable. Now, one last thing before you go off and build your topic is, once you've got your question, don't just keep it in your own head. Talk it out to the world, pressure test it. You can speak it about it with your supervisor. You go prepped, show them that you have thought through this, talk out your thinking process, show them that you have also considered novelty, relevance, and feasibility. Then you can also talk to your peers and maybe senior PhDs in your field, because they can help you or maybe spot some practical problems that you might have actually missed when you were thinking about the topic. Next is, you can also go on, you know into webinars, conferences, and seminars where people are presenting their work. So there, people are constantly talking about, what areas of more research is needed. They did this work, but what the practical challenges they face. So this is something where you can actually build on your thing, your research, and also go for a practical test, which is you have to try to finalize whether you can answer your what, why, and how in 30 seconds. So if you can't do that, probably you need to still simplify your research question. The one thing I want you to walk away today is, a great research topic is not something that you stumble across by luck. It's something you deliberately construct piece by piece using a framework. So you're not a treasure hunter, you're an architect. You understand the three pillars, which is novelty, relevance, and feasibility. You know the funnel method, and you've got AI tools. The only question left is, what are you going to build? If this helped you, drop a comment below with the research area. I'd love to hear what you're working on. And if you want more videos on navigating PhD life without losing your mind, make sure you're subscribed. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.